Okay, fam, welcome back. So today we're going to be going over Bitcoin and the major Bitcoin metrics. So with that being said, let's get it. All right, so I'm going to bring this up one more time. Probably going to keep bringing it up just in case you guys are not aware, but there are channel memberships you can buy to get early access to the content that we release for 25 bucks a month. If you guys want to join, there is a join button below the video that you can click on to get access to it. It is 25 bucks a month. It will give you unlimited access, early access to either gain access to the content immediately if you need it, or whenever the most convenient time is for you, but it will be any time basically before the scheduled release. Again, if you guys want to get access to that, you can. It's completely voluntary. You don't have to do it, but these crypto markets move extremely fast, and we're likely going to be in a bull run in these crypto markets for the next 12 months, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and get into Bitcoin. Before I begin with the charts, you guys know how we do this. We're going to go over the other metrics. So we'll start with the Google search terms here, or not search terms, trends in this case, Google Trends. Okay, so you guys can see on the search term for crypto here, we have, it looks like a nice little spike here on the crypto search term up to a 39. Would I say that this is a peak because of the fact that it's lifting like this? Probably not. Again, these things can last for quite a while. You can see it lifted here from like November going all the way out to looks like maybe about May, so about 6 months. I mean, we could just be starting the same trajectory 4 years later exactly. So this thing could still go up for like another probably like 5-6 months, I would say. But I would say this is an indication that retail may be slowly starting to enter the space. Again, do I think they've gone in full, sell everything, sell your toes, sell your kidneys, sell your wife, sell your kids, sell your house, sell your car, sell your life, sell your soul, all that kind of thing to get into crypto? No, we haven't seen anything like that yet, okay? I'm pretty confident that's not the case yet. But regardless, it is kind of an early sign that of one of two things. Number one, most of retail is not here yet. Okay, just getting started, maybe with like the very, very tiny percentage of retail coming in so far. And number two, we're still early. Well, actually, I take that back. Three things. And number three, the crypto bull run has likely just started. Okay, like we were telling you guys back here, all in this area back here for months and months and months and months. Look, we're probably early. Now's the time to get in. Again, not financial advice. You guys can do what you want to with your money, but if you're going to get in, now's the time to do it before we start popping off, before Bitcoin smashes all-time highs, before retail FOMO's in. Now we're starting to see what we've been telling you guys for a while now begin to actually play out. Okay. All right. So Bitcoin, this one's gone even more stupid. Again, that is to be expected here. 70 on the Bitcoin price. That could indicate some kind of pullback or consolidation. Again, usually when that happens, when Bitcoin consolidates, well, I shouldn't say when it pulls back. When it consolidates, altcoins usually smash off to the moon. Okay. And again, we're probably not going to get an all season until next year. But when Bitcoin dumps, well, the altcoins dump more with it. Do I think Bitcoin's going to dump after 2 weeks of green after the breakout? Probably not. I don't think so because again, and usually I don't start with this, but I'm going to go back here to show you guys this. In 2020, once we broke all-time highs, we had 4 weeks of green. Okay, then we had 2 weeks of red, and then another 4 weeks of green, and then we kind of just chopped up here at the top, and that's when we got the big all season. Now going back to 2017, you can see a very similar thing here. Okay. And again, it's going to be kind of difficult to figure out where those highs were. And this is not really about 2017, but you guys can see that we did break the highs right around this area. Okay. So again, once we broke out, we had 2 weeks of green, one consolidation week, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks of green in a row. Then we pulled back. Then we got another big fat green week, another consolidation week. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks of green, 2 weeks of red, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 weeks of green. Then 1 week of red, and then the final blow off top phase where we had another 5 weeks in a row of green. So, do I think 2 weeks of green is going to be it on this first leg of the move up? No, I do not. I think Bitcoin's still got a ways to go up before we see any major pullback. Again, I'm going to stick with what I said before, that I think probably somewhere between at least 100 to 120,000, maybe even as high as 140,000 before we actually get a sizable pullback on the first leg. Okay, that's what I think is going to happen. All right, so fear and greed. This one is at a 90. Again, that is, that's usually what happens when crypto starts really ripping to the moon. But again, Bitcoin has moved up mostly on its own. I mean, pretty much everything else in the native space has not really moved up. I mean, we've had like a little bit of inching up in some of these altcoins that we personally have. I'm sure there's some altcoins out there on the market that we don't know about that have done stupid returns at this point. But for the most part, a lot of these projects have not moved. Okay. So do I think this thing hitting a 90 for 1 week is really a concern? No, I do not. Okay. Last time we hit this in November 2020, we stayed at these greed areas for roughly about 3 months straight. Okay. We didn't, like I said, when we get into these zones in extreme greed, extreme fear, right now we're in extreme greed. Does it usually pull back immediately? Not really. That doesn't happen that often. Okay. So even during this, like once we lifted off from July here, between this kind of August to going out to November, August to November was all green during that time of that particular bull run last cycle. And most of the time that we spent up here in this greed territory. Okay. So I don't think we're done going up yet. I don't think the greed is over yet. I think we're just beginning, if I'm being completely honest. Okay, so MVRV here. We're about ready to get a breakout on this one. As you can see, we're tapping the local highs here. That could be another major signal that Bitcoin's about ready to smash to all-time highs. Again, I mean, I know it's at 90,000, but it could be about ready to just fly off a handle. If it was going to happen tomorrow, like by the time you guys see this tomorrow, will be right before market open. If this is at regular release time, if not, you'll be able to see it before then. But if what we think the traditional markets are about to do are, if they're actually going to do what we think they're going to do and start going up this week, especially with NVIDIA earnings coming up this week, and again, kind of the technicals on the traditional markets, it's possible that Bitcoin may start marching higher again tomorrow on Monday. Okay, that could happen. So that could line up perfectly with this. All right, Bitcoin rainbow chart. So you guys already know we've talked about this forever. Whenever this thing is in the blue, right after the halving, I don't know where the line is. It's not popping up, but regardless, whenever it's in the blue, right after, there it goes, right after the halving. So in the blue line of the regression band here, it chops sideways and then eventually rips to the upside. Okay, even back here, 2016, got the halving, chop sideways in the blue, boom, went up. Got the halving, chop sideways in the blue in 2020, boom, went up. And we're seeing the exact same thing right now. Okay, so we had the halving, we're a little overbought, came back to the blue, and now boom, we're smashing to the upside. We're now in the green. We're not in the blue anymore. We're in the green. Okay, so that's a signal, in my opinion, that the bull run has started. Do I think the bull run's over? No, I think we're still in the very, very early stages. We should not see a top in these markets till probably around Q4 of sometime Q4 of next year. Okay, Nupal chart. So this one's in belief and denial. Again, you can see the kind of line here getting ready to push against this line back here. In my opinion, that is another potential signal that Bitcoin's getting ready to have another major leg up. Which is kind of ridiculous to say because you can see that it's already had 2 green candles. But again, every single time that Bitcoin on the weekly time frame has had a breakout of previous all-time highs or the previous cycle all-time highs, so like say the 69,000 from 2021 getting broken in 2024, something like that, every time that's happened, we've usually had at least a minimum of 4 weeks of green for the most part. Okay. So I think that breakout could be coming. Again, we should really only be terrified if this blue line gets into euphoria and greed. That might be a major warning sign, but we're still not there yet. Okay. All right. Pi cycle top indicator. I personally like this one a lot more, but so we told you guys that it was below the yellow and then it was eventually going to get back up there, especially in a bull run based on previous historical data. And a lot of people would say, oh, historical data doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It only matters what my feelings are. My feelings tell me this or that. Guys, look, markets don't give it you know what about your feelings, okay? They are designed to do one thing and one thing only. Give to one side and take from the other. That's what markets are. It's a zero-sum game. You're either here to make money or you're here to lose money. So which side of the trade do you want to be on, right? Historical data is extremely important because it gives us some indications, some similarities or sort of repeating patterns that we can look at that can say, okay, well, based on what happened before, there's a good likelihood that that same thing is going to happen again, okay? So you can see we got below the yellow here. What happened? Boom, took off. Got below the yellow here after the bear market lows. Boom, took off. Same thing back here. Boom, took off. 2020, same thing back here. I'm not counting this because that was a pandemic, but same thing here. Boom, took off. Mid-cycle dump, got back above it, took off. Rinse and repeat, right? Okay, so the thing I want to point out here is that in order for the parabolic phase of the bull run to actually begin, for the like stupid FOMO to begin, okay, we got to get above this green EMA. So where's the green EMA currently? It's at almost 120,000 for Bitcoin. Again, this is another reason why I'm saying likely there is not going to be a major pullback in Bitcoin. This is just my opinion, but when I say a major pullback, I mean like a minimum, like Bitcoin pulls back 20, 30%. Okay, and all coins pull back by half. In my opinion, that's likely not going to happen until we get somewhere around at least 100 to 120K. And again, you guys can see the EMA is roughly about 120K for the green one. Once we get past the green one, that's it. That is the final phase of the bull run. You can see we got it back here. It went from 23,000 to 69 or 63,000, I guess in this case. Back here in 2017, it went from 3,000 to 20,000. 2013, 166 bucks to 1135, and then in 2012 or 2013 again, I guess early on, 20 bucks to about 231. So you can see these moves are pretty huge. I'll get to what I think the targets are going to be here in a minute, but again, that lines up likely with us not seeing a major retracement anytime soon. Okay, so a little bit of a pullback on the M2 money supply. Am I worried about this? Not really. I mean, look, when we're looking at the trend, we're not looking at the short-term time frames here. Okay, what is the trend telling us? Higher highs, higher lows. That means we are in a bull trend. Okay, and the M2 money supply is only ever expanding. It doesn't matter what they tell you. Oh, we're tightening rates. Oh, we're rolling assets off the balance sheet, guys. I can't prove it, but they probably got a backdoor somewhere that they're printing money behind the scenes, spending money on something. Okay, that's just what the government does. The government loves spending money. It doesn't matter who's in office. Okay, same thing with the banks. The banks spend money. Why? Because then they can loan it out to get paid interest and create more debt, which makes them richer, and on and on and on. So it is, it's a beast. Basically, it really never stops. So, am I worried about a short-term pullback? No. Okay, higher green peaks, higher highs and higher lows on the blue line. What is Bitcoin likely going to do? It's likely going to keep going up, right? And all of these, the blue line, the black line, and the green hills likely going to keep going higher. Again, these are really small peaks. You can see how insane this got in 2020, 2021, and in 2018. I mean, these green peaks got absolutely monstrous compared to where we are right now. So again, this reiterates to me we are still likely at the beginning stages of the crypto bull run, not at the end, okay? The other thing I wanted to point out too is even if this pullback in the M2 money supply is intentional by, like, let's say the Federal Reserve, let's say it's politically motivated, right? Oh, Trump's going to be in office. Let's do this or that, right? Because, politics, right? And I hate to keep bringing it up, but politics does matter in finance because, again, the people that are in the positions that make the laws, i.e. Congress, they affect the finance world, whether people like to, accept that as truth or not. That's the way it is. But am I worried about any of these short-term issues that we may see that are considered to be among political warfare between the Democrats and the Republicans? Not really. Okay, here's why. Because Trump's going to be inaugurated on January 20th. Like I've told y'all before, when it comes back to the finance world, either Jay Powell is going to be forced to cut rates, down to as low as Trump wants them to be. If he wants to keep his job, or if he tries to not do that and Trump's in office, he might just get replaced with somebody else, because the president, if it is a new president, has the right to replace the chairman with one of his own if he chooses to. So it's really up to J. Powell what he wants to happen here, to keep his job and lower rates or get fired and lower rates. So I think likely this M2 money supply and the green hills are going to get bigger based on that. Okay. Okay, so this is a new one and interesting that I wanted to show you guys. So this is an app. Not sure exactly what this is. It's kind of some kind of a app search term or search ranking aggregation site. I don't know exactly how to explain this, but basically the listing at the top is the most popular, and it gets less and less popular as it goes down, right? So you guys are probably wondering, why am I bringing this up? Well, it's quite simple, okay? So when Coinbase and Gemini and Kraken and Crypto.com and Binance and all these, and KuCoin and all these other exchanges, when they start getting up here in the top 50, top 20, top 10, top 3, the higher up in the rankings these things get, the more concerned I would be that the peak is in. Okay. Do we see any crypto exchanges in these top 10? No. Okay. We got things like Netflix and some other stuff, DraftKings, ChatGPT, and other stuff that most of this, I don't even know what it is. So you got TikTok, Google, McDonald's, on and on. But look, as I'm scrolling down, I want to show you guys this. Okay. This is, and you'll see why. We'll go over this probably every single video we do Bitcoin on. But I just want to show you guys. So the only thing Bitcoin related here that has, or anything related here that you can do Bitcoin on, as far as I know, is Cash App. Okay, even that is at number 40 right now, not even close to the top 10. So the point I want to make here is this. Let's see if I can find it. So I'm not even seeing Coinbase anywhere over here. All right. But if I go down to, let's see, where was it? Yeah, so you can see the only crypto exchange that is even close to the top 100 is Crypto.com, and that rank is currently 122. Okay, this tells me one of two things: we're still very early in the bull run. Most of retail, if not almost all of retail, is not here yet. Because if they were, where do you think these crypto search terms would be? They would be up here in the top 10, top 30, top 50. We're not seeing that yet. All right, so Bitcoin. Let's talk about Bitcoin, baby. Okay, so 2 weeks of green. I've already given you guys my opinions on this. We're probably going to see another 2 weeks of green. I wouldn't be surprised before some kind of major pullback. Now, in terms of the Fibonacci retracements, so if I'm doing the macro here, again, swing high to swing low. So we're currently sitting at the 1.618. Okay, this is probably part of the reason why we're getting some kind of temporary slowdown here. Is this really all that surprising? No, because a lot of traders, when they trade this stuff, and there are people that just trade crypto, believe it or not everybody buys crypto for the hodl. Okay, when people are trading this stuff, they're literally looking at this exact same thing. Okay, so they measure from here, say, okay, if I'm in a position down here, where do I want my targets to be? Well, the 1.618 is right up here. So you probably got some people taking profits right now, right at this level. Do I think it's going to stop here ultimately? No. What I think is going to happen is we're probably going to get a push up to the 2.618, which again lines up with that green EMA on the Pi cycle top indicator right around 120,000. So probably about 150 to maybe 120,000, we get a temporary stopping point, and then altcoins pop off. Maybe we chop sideways a little bit. Altcoins start blasting off to the moon. Then Bitcoin does get a major retracement, maybe down to 90,000 where it currently is. And then boom, we start the second leg up. That's kind of what I'm expecting here. Okay, something like that. So micro level here, the ultimate target would be 150,000. So that basically just means that this thing could actually really go to 150,000 before having its first pullback. If I'm just telling you guys like it is, that could actually happen. It could just go straight up to 150,000. That's always possible. So on the next major macro retracement here, you can see the all-time high target would be roughly around 240 to 250,000. As a matter of fact, if I do this one last time, Try to get it as accurate as I can be. You guys can see that 150,000 on the micro does line up with the 2.618 on the macro as well. Okay. You also have this big green line, which kind of signals the tops of previous cycles. Once again, if we're going out to November 2025, where is that level? Right around the Fibonacci retracement at 240,000. All right, so enough about that. So the RSI, I'll touch on the RSI a little bit here before I go into the other ones, but the RSI, you can see it is starting to poke its head into the overbought territory. We have an hour and 30 minutes until close of this candle. But again, this thing is nowhere even close to being overbought. You can see how massively overbought it was back here. It was at like an 86. We're currently sitting somewhere between a 50 to a 70. So that's nothing essentially. A little bit overbought on the daily. Am I too worried about that? Not really. I mean, this thing was overbought back here in October 2023, and it just went sideways and then eventually ripped higher anyways. That's not really a concern for me. The other thing I did want to show you guys here too is on the monthly. So you guys can see the last two times we got major cycle peaks. 2017 on the monthly, this thing just got stupid. It went up to almost 100, and 2021 we got up to a 92. Currently on the monthly, we're only sitting at a 65 to 73. Again, this is a 1 month time frame. So this is literally, we're not going to see a change in the RSI until December. Okay. And again, we are on our first month of breakout right here on this candle. This month, literally November, is the first breakout month. So next thing I want to go over here is the 12-month time frame. And again, this is just to give you a big grand 50,000 foot view of what crypto usually looks like. So we get our halving years, 2014, 2018, 2022. So theoretically, we should get another one in 2026. So we have 3 green years in between then, 2015, 16, 17, green, 19, 20, 21, green, then the bear market in 2022. And as of right now, we only have 2 green candles. Okay, so the rest of this year should be green, and then next year should also be green. And then January, if we're going to have another bear market year, should be the bear market year. Okay. Again, these white vertical lines represent the halvings. The halvings are on the second of these 3 years, and it also lines up the same as the presidential election year, which we just had. So I'm going to go back here to the weekly time frame, and I actually want to go over some other metrics. Before I close this video out too, I'm also going to kind of give you guys an idea of what I think is about to happen, okay? All right, so something else I wanted to pop up here, I think it was the stochastic RSI. I'm not really caring so much about the weekly time frame. I think the more important metric here is actually the 2-week time frame. So we'll take a look at that. Last time we saw a major top, this thing was massively overbought at about 100. You can see we just recently came off being oversold for months. Okay, so that tells me once again we're likely still early. Again, you can see this lines up perfectly or almost perfectly with bottoms here. So a bottom in September 2023. Kind of this topping out period here where we just went sideways and then Bitcoin went up, right? And then again, the bear market lows back in 2022, and I can keep going back here. We got the November peak in 2021. You can see how that lined up nicely with that. And as we were ripping to the moon, and again, this should just go to show you that we could stay overbought on the 2-week stochastic RSI for a long time before topping out. But you guys can see the price was going up as the RSI was staying sideways. The kind of giveaway here is when we started to see a bearish divergence. So the RSI was starting to go down while the price was going up. That would have been like, okay, maybe this thing's about ready to roll off. And that's exactly what happened. So based on this, I would say likely we're still early, very, very early in this bull run. Okay, I don't think until we get the 2-week stochastic RSI up there in the overbought, I don't think that we're even anywhere close to being overbought at this point. And the regular RSI on the weekly time frame is also signaling that we're still not even close to a top yet. Okay, so Last thing I wanted to go over here is the Bitcoin dominance. Again, we'll talk about ETH Bitcoin when it starts to become relevant, but as of right now, Bitcoin dominance is still going up in this rising channel formation here. I suppose I could maybe actually change it a little bit here so it looks maybe more like that. Whether it's a rising channel or rising wedge, it doesn't really matter. Either way, that this is technically considered to be a bearish pattern. Okay, so what does it mean when the Bitcoin dominance goes up? It means that the Bitcoin is gaining in value over the market. Okay, that's usually what happens when Bitcoin is in control of the market. When this thing goes down, when Bitcoin dominance falls off a cliff, that's when the altcoins start to blast off to the moon. That's usually when retail starts FOMOing in. We get the masses in retail FOMOing in when the Bitcoin dominance goes down. Most of these people don't even know what Bitcoin dominance is, but this is a metric that we use to measure when they come in, because again, people that come into the space, they're not looking to make like a 1, 2, 3x on Bitcoin. They want to make like, they want to turn 1,000 into 20,000 or 20,000 into like 5 million, right? These people are coming in here for huge gains. They're coming in here to treat it like a casino. So when we see the Bitcoin dominance drop off a cliff like this, these large successions of red candles, that should be pretty indicative that we're about ready to reach a top. Are we seeing anything like that? No, we are not. Okay. We are not seeing anything like that right now. So I'll touch on the Bitcoin miners in a separate video. I didn't think this video was going to be that long, but last thing I will say before I close the video out is I think the mania phase of the crypto bull run is not actually going to start until Trump gets inaugurated into office and starts putting some of these things in motion that he's been talking about, like the Bitcoin National Strategic Reserve, putting 200,000 Bitcoin in the U.S. Treasury, or maybe even buying a million Bitcoin over the next 5 years. Obviously, that would create serious FOMO, right? Almost like panic level FOMO. He'll force Powell to resign because he refuses to cut rates, or replace him with somebody else to get them to cut rates. So the cutting of the rates, it matters, because again, when interest rates are at zero or near zero, that is when money is cheapest to borrow. Okay, that's when people are going to go out, buy houses they can't afford, buy cars they can't afford, buy a ton of cryptocurrency. Okay, because it's cheap to borrow money. It's cheap to take on debt. When you have a 2% mortgage rate, that sounds a lot more appealing than an 8% mortgage rate, right? When you want to go get a personal loan for, let's say, 5% versus 10%, it sounds more appealing when it's 5%, right? That's less money that you have to pay back for the money that you're borrowing. Again, borrowing is cheap. This is what we want if the crypto bull run is to skyrocket and take off to the moon. So I think what's going to happen is Bitcoin's going to go up into January, okay, into inauguration, and when Trump gets inaugurated, then that's when, and Bitcoin could still keep going up past then. It could, but we're going to start to see the transition, in my opinion, from Bitcoin into altcoins during that time frame. I think that's likely what's going to happen. So anyways, hope you all enjoyed this content. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Peace.